Welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. We're going to be diving into how to beat Tottenham Hotspur. It's a very, very important game for us now. We've done our preview yesterday. We're waiting for Mikel Arteta's press conference today. Antonio Conte's press conference was yesterday. So we know who is available and who is not available for Spurs. But then again, I think the final team news will be coming in tomorrow, 1 hour before the game. So until then, we are still looking at who is in, who is out, who is fit, who is not fit for Arsenal, and I think for both sides as well. Hit the like button for me. Let's get this video to 300 likes. Subscribe to the podcast. We're very close to 60,000 subscribers. In the comment section, we had the conversation yesterday, and I think that many of you gave me your predictions. Arsenal to win 4-0, 4-1, 3-2. But the big question that I want us to talk about in this video is how can Arsenal beat Tottenham Hotspur? How can we be the better side on the evening? How can Arsenal be come out on top of that game? Because look, it's at the Emirates Stadium. I think it's a positive. It's at home. You want to play those difficult games, especially when you're from the international break at home at the Emirates Stadium. Liverpool is also coming at home at the Emirates Stadium. Those are very, very big positives. But I think it's going to take more than that to beat Antonio Conte and Tottenham Hotspur. It's going to take more than being at the Emirates Stadium. It's going to take more than the history we have over them at the Emirates Stadium to beat them tomorrow. So in this video, I want us to dive into the strength and weaknesses of Tottenham Hotspur, their current form, how they play, and how we can actually bridge their system. We're also going to dive into how I think Antonio Conte is going to try to approach this game, because I think he's a very pragmatic coach. I think he's one of those underrated managers in the world. Him, Thomas Tuchel, as well. I feel like they're a little bit underrated, but for me, the amount of success they have, they have achieved, they have collected, just speaks for itself. So hit the like button, and in the comment section, join me. How confident are you? Are you a little bit nervous that Arsenal might not beat Spurs? Talk to me in the comment section. Now, if you look at current form, Tottenham Hotspur have really been doing well in the Premier League. They're unbeaten this season. In 7 games, they have only drawn twice. A 2-2 draw against Chelsea in a game for me that they should have lost. I think Chelsea didn't take their opportunities very well. And then a 1-1 draw against West Ham United. Now that is a positive. Although they're unbeaten, they have dropped 4 points. 1 point more than Arsenal, because for us we have lost only 3 points, losing to Manchester United 3-1 at the Old Trafford. So they're in form. They're really, really doing well. If you look at their last 5 games, they have won 4 and drawn 1. They've won each of their last 2 games, beating Leicester City 6-2 in their last game. So listen, that speaks volumes about them. They score goals. They have a lot. They have a lot of quality to score 4, to score 5, to score 6 against a shaky defense. So we need to be, we need to be strong. We need to tighten up when it comes to that aspect. That aspect as well. But the other positive is that they do concede goals. They have conceded 7 goals, just like Arsenal as well. We have both conceded 7 goals at the start of the campaign, and that means on average we have conceded a goal per 90. I'm not trying to say that Arsenal have conceded a goal every game or Spurs have conceded a goal every game, but I'm trying to say that on average we are conceding a goal per 90. We have conceded 7 goals in 7 games, and they have also conceded 7 goals in 7 games. So both defenses can be breached. Both defenses can be scored against. That is something to point out. But in terms of form, I think Arsenal are the better side. We are the better informed side. Last 5 games, won 4, lost 1. Of course, Spurs do have an extra point when it comes to the last 5 games, but we are on top of the table. That is number 1. I think everyone needs to know. We have collected more points out of our first 7 than Spurs have. But they're also in form, like I said, last 7 games in the Premier League this season, 2 draws, 5 wins. That is where they are standing. Now, key players for Tottenham Hotspur, this is where it gets most interesting, because you look at how they line up. almost every player is a key player. Antonio Conte loves to play that 3-4-3 system. We're gonna be diving into their system and see how they play, how they attack games, what are their strengths and weaknesses of their system. But if we talk about the key players, I think we can talk about 5. For me, 5 key players for Tottenham Hotspur. Number 1 is Harry Kane. I think this one is a no-brainer. Many Arsenal fans know this. He always scores against Arsenal. He's always one of those strikers that will always pick up a goal against Arsenal, and I just hate it, honestly. I just hate the fact that Kane scores a goal always against Arsenal. But I think he's a key player. He's one player we need to stop. These days, actually, under Antonio Conte, I think we are seeing a better version of Harry Kane. A Harry Kane that is not only a goal poacher, not only waiting to get those balls into the final third and for him to react, but is dropping deeper into deeper areas, picking up the ball and servicing the likes of Son, Richarlison, and Dejan Kulusevski. So Harry Kane is going to be a very important pivot and a very important aspect of the North London derby on Saturday. He's in form. He has scored 6 goals coming into this fixture, 6 goals in this this season already. So Arsenal need to stop Harry Kane, and for me, the only way to stop Harry Kane is I don't know. It's not that easy, because, like I said, he's no longer give me service striker. He's not only waiting to be given the ball all the time. He's gonna be dropping deep, picking up the ball in deeper areas, and then creating all sorts of problems. That, I don't know, either William Saliba, Maxim man-to-man, or Gabriel Magalhaes, Maxim man-to-man, depending on what Mikel Arteta will decide. Harry Kane is a key player for Tottenham Hotspur. And we have seen it. We've seen it so many times this season. For me, the goal he scored against Wolverhampton Wanderers, the goal he scored against Nottingham Forest. Those kind of scenarios where he just produces quality. It just reminds us that he's one of the best strikers in the Premier League, and arguably one of the best strikers in the world right now. After Benzema and Robert Lewandowski and Haaland, you might mention Harry Kane. For me, he's absolutely key for them. So he's one of the key players I think Spurs will be looking at to capitalize on in that North London derby on Saturday. The other player is Dejan Kulusevski. Now, I was quite surprised when Antonio Conte decided that he will drop Dejan Kulusevski when actually Heung-min Son was the player out of form. Kulusevski since then he's actually come back into the starting lineup, and he's so important for Antonio Conte. The problem with Dejan Kulusevski and how I think Arsenal are really going to suffer with him is he's so mobile. He's very, very mobile. I think it's easy to stop Ken. It's easy to stop Heung-min Son. It's very hard to stop Dejan Kulusevski. He's one of those players that, you look at how they play, you look at his, mobility, you look at his speed, you look at his, agility, you look at his, he's a very, very bright guy. It's not easy. It's not going to be an easy, battle between Dejan Kulusevski, and I think it's going to be Dejan Kulusevski against Kieran Tierney or Alexander Zinchenko. And we know Zinchenko loves to drift into the midfield. That is a role that Mikel has created for Zinchenko, drift into the midfield and play as part of a midfield four. So we saw it against Manchester United. Anthony exploited that space, in behind, our back line that is left by Alexander Zinchenko. So if Dejan Kulusevski gets that opportunity, if he gets those opportunities, it won't be very good for Arsenal. It won't be good for us. So another player, we need to watch out for is Dejan Kulusevski. Creates a lot of chances, 3 assists for them this campaign and 1 goal in 7 appearances. I think in around 6 appearances for Tottenham Hotspur. So you can see again on that front 3, Ken and Kulusevski are the 2 that you think have been very consistent this season and have always delivered for Spurs whenever they've been called up to. Actually, I think Son, Kulusevski and Ken have produced more goals than any other forward trio in the Premier League ever since Kulusevski joining in January. So again, another player to stop is Dejan Kulusevski. Creates a lot of chances. We look for Harry Kane. We look for those balls at the back post. We look for the heads of Eric Dyer, for the heads of Christian Romero, and all the Spurs players in the penalty area. That is another one to stop. Now, I thought about Richarlison and Son. I think Heung-min Son can be stopped, in my opinion. I don't look. He's a key player, but not this season, not yet. I don't think this season is earned the respect to be called a key player. Richarlison, I'm not yet convinced about his, about his Tottenham Hotspur status. I don't count him as a key player. It may probably want to watch, probably, an upcoming dangerous player for Spurs. But on the front line, I've gone with Harry Kane and Dejan Kulusevski. Now in midfield, it's of course Pierre-Emerick Højbjerg and Rodrigo Bentancur, and the two of those are key players for Antonio Conte and Tottenham Hotspur, and how they approach their games and how they collect their points. Rodrigo Bentancur, to start off with, is the transition master in Spurs. So literally, it's the guy that links the defensive part of the work to the offensive. He carries the ball from deeper areas to the final third. So he's going to be the guy with the most key passes. He's going to be the guy with the most, final third entries and all and things like that. He's going to be the guy playing the ball into the channels. They don't have a creative midfielder. Look, I don't feel that is really hampering them this campaign. Spurs, they're scoring the goals for fun. How many goals have they scored this campaign? 18 goals scored this campaign in 7 games. So the lack of a number 10, the lack of a creative midfielder like Tielemans, like Hauser, like Christian Eriksen, for me is not actually affecting them, unless we're gonna start seeing it in this game, right? But I don't think the lack of a number 10, the lack of a purely creative midfielder is actually affecting them, and I'm gonna tell you why. So Rodrigo Bentancur is a player to stop. They're kind of Sergio Busquets. The guy is so good at ball distribution. He's so good at ball at transitions as well. So if you allow Spurs to get you on the break, if you allow Spurs to play more on the ball, Rodrigo Bentancur is going to be the guy at the center of every activity. When it comes to unleashing those deadly counterattacks, it's Rodrigo Bentancur. When it comes to possessing and then managing the game very well, it's Rodrigo Bentancur. So we need to stop Rodrigo Bentancur as much as we can. Now, Rodrigo Bentancur cannot do the same kind of damage Christian Eriksen did against us at the Old Trafford, but it is quite very similar. Their roles are so similar. They're not number 10s like Bruno Fernandes, so they're not number 10s, but they're that kind of deep lying midfielder that has the vision and has the ability to make that intelligent pass. So Rodrigo Bentancur want to stop. But in midfield, the guy that we should be worried about this season is Pierre-Emerick Højbjerg. Now, I've already said Xhaka is in form. Xhaka is our best player this season, absolutely flying. Pierre-Emerick Højbjerg is arguably Tottenham Hotspur's most important player this season, and I'm saying that very, very seriously. He's already scored 2 goals for them this season, and one of them being a very vital equalizer against Chelsea. So I just love the way he has developed as a player under Antonio Conte. Most of the people thought when you sign Yves Bissouma, it means Pierre-Emerick Højbjerg drops out of the starting lineup. He's been absolutely unplayable. He's been absolutely fantastic for Tottenham Hotspur. And with Rodrigo and with Pierre-Emerick Højbjerg, his partnership with Rodrigo Bentancur is absolute class. You have, of course, he's gonna break up the play all the time. Is the defensive guy in that midfield. So literally, we have to beat him to score. We have to beat Pierre-Emerick Højbjerg to have a goal at the likes of Christian Romero and the likes of Eric Dyer. If you cannot beat him, if he works more than us, if he has more recoveries, if he has more tackles, more interceptions, then Arsenal cannot win the game. Arsenal will not be able to impact the final third. So Pierre-Emerick Højbjerg, want to watch for Spurs, want to watch tomorrow. It's just so important for them. It gets that, it gets that, spare time, come into the final third, have a shot on goal, try to score some goals. Like I said, he's already scored 2 for Spurs in this season. So I think the midfield 2 for Tottenham Hotspur, should be stopped. I think both of them are key players. But then the other key players for Tottenham Hotspur is Ivan Perisic. And sadly, I'm going to say this, either Ryan Sessegnon or Emerson. Now, we've talked about the lack of creativity in midfield. The question is, how do they score goals then? Right? How do they create chances? How do they score goals without having a number 10, without having a purely creative midfielder in midfield? They use their wing backs. Antonio Conte in that 3-4-3 system uses wing backs as the creative link, as the creative spark. Ivan Perisic is one player to watch. Ivan Perisic is a key player for Spurs, and if you're going to pick up any points in this game, Ivan Perisic is one player we have to stop. Now, listen, I've looked at a few wing backs in this campaign. And I think Reece James is good. I think he's slightly overrated though, in my opinion. I don't know if I'm the only guy who sees this. I just feel like Reece James he's good. I'm not saying he's not good. He's good, but he's slightly overrated somewhere. You look at the likes of Joao Cancelo. You look at the likes of Trent Alexander-Arnold. Not up to task this season, but we know he'll come around. Another player to keep your eyes on this season. If you're playing FPL, let me give you one player to put into your side, whether you ask or not. It's Ivan Perisic. This guy is absolutely unbelievably good for his age. Number one, he's unbelievably good. So the biggest creative spark, where chances are coming from for Tottenham Hotspur, it is Ivan Perisic, Emerson, and Ryan Sessegnon. Antonio Conte loves to create chances using his wing backs and his wingers, because literally, if you look at Son, Richarlison, and Kulusevski and Ken, that front three is there to be fed. They need chances and they need opportunities, and these opportunities are created by the overlapping Ivan Perisic and the overlapping, Emerson. I think they should try to integrate Jed Spence more in the team rather than Emerson. I don't believe Emerson is a very, very good guy. Actually, I think he's the worst Spurs player for me this campaign. But I think they're fairly fine. I think they're fairly fine in terms of creativity. So Ivan Perisic is another key player to stop for Spurs. And then Christian Romero. That is the last one. Christian Romero, centre back, but we are talking about ball playing ability. Now, if you remember last season, when we played Crystal Palace, Joachim Andersen created all sorts of problems for Arsenal. He created all sorts of problems for us as a ball playing centre back. I think he even created a spectacular assist in that goal, in that game. So Christian Romero is not different from Lisandro Martinez, from Joachim Andersen, from Virgil van Dijk. I was about to say from Harry Maguire, but Maguire has dropped off a cliff, so you cannot really use him as an example. But you get what I'm talking about. If you want to stop Spurs, Christian Romero is going to be playing those balls over the top. That is one, and then you cannot allow him have that all that time to pick up a pass. Now, Gabriel Jesus is one of the best pressers in world football up front, so I think I trust him to deal with that. I really trust him to deal with Christian Romero. So those are the key players for Spurs. There are so many because the team is in form, and the way Antonio Conte sets up is, we are playing as a whole. We play as a whole, and we play. We create together. We try to score together. We attack together and defend together. That's why they have so many key players. Just like Arsenal, I think we have three key players on our front line, 2 key players in our midfield, and around 2 key players in our defense as well. So, what are the strengths and what are the weaknesses of this Tottenham Hotspur side? Strength, I'm gonna say, chance creation. Okay, that is one. Chance creation. Like I said, 18 goals in 7 games. They create chances. And with Spurs, they do score goals from set pieces. They do create chances from open play. They create chances on the break. They create chances from dead ball situations. They create chances and utilize chances everywhere. I think Harry Kane has scored 2 goals or 3 goals from headers this campaign. From corners, sorry. A goal against Wolverhampton Wanderers was a header. A goal against Chelsea was a header. I'm trying to find the other goal that he scored as a header from a corner. At the back post. I think it's 3. It's 3 goals he scored. 3 goals. Was it Nottingham Forest as well? No, Nottingham Forest, I think it was from open play. Richarlison did set him up. But so they create a lot of chances when they have the opportunity because they have the chance. I mean, they have the quality. Kulusevski can create a lot of chances. Perisic creates a lot of chances. Huminson creates a lot of chances. Rodrigo Bentancur will create chances for them. And of course, like I said, that ball over the top from Christian Romero. So one of their strengths is chance creation. They will create those big chances. The next strength for them is conversion, and that is Arsenal's weakness. Spurs on the other side. Now we've scored 17 and they have scored 18. So I know many of you are gonna say, Cossy, why do you say we don't take our chances? Why do you say we suck at conversion? Yet we have scored only 1 goal less than Spurs. We should have scored 25 goals this campaign. For me, 3 against Manchester United. I didn't see the chances being buried. Honestly, I think 2 more or 3 more against Leicester City. Those chances also went begging. So Spurs conversion is one of their very, very strong attributes. And with Huminson coming back to his levels, scoring that hat trick under 17 minutes, it just shows you the quality they have in front of goal. When they create the chances, they will take them. We know Ken, we know Son, we know Richarlison. When they get the chance, they will actually take their chances. So I think as we get into this game, we need to see how do we stop them from creating the chances, those many chances, and then how do we stop them from converting the few chances they're gonna be creating. Those are 2 strengths that I think need to be pointed up. The other strength for Spurs is the break and counter-attacks. Now, this is typical of any Antonio Conte side. They love sitting back in shape, being organized, being patient, and soaking up the pressure, and then releasing the kraken, releasing the wind, releasing the tsunami when they catch you off guard. They have runners in that team. Perisic, with his age, is a runner. Emerson Royal is a runner. Harry Kane is a runner. Son is a runner, and Kulusevski is a runner as well. Actually, is there any other strong team on the break this campaign stronger than Spurs? On the break this campaign, stronger than Spurs? Let's see. It could be Wolves, but Wolves don't score goals. They have Goncalo Guedes and Pedro Neto. So I think they should have enough quality with the likes of Adama and Hwang Hee-chan, but they don't score goals. So they are not deadly as Spurs. And I think Spurs, when it comes to catching teams on the break and counterattacks, they're the strongest side, right? So one of their strengths again is catching you on the break. The counterattacks, they're very, very strong. They are absolutely ridiculous. So we need to stop that as well. We cannot give them the chance to run. We cannot give them chance to keep on. Is it called sprinting in behind our defense? We can't keep on doing that. So I think those are 3 major advantages with strength with Spurs and how they play. Those are their major strengths. Weaknesses. What are their weaknesses? I've looked at this Spurs side, and I think I've discovered a few weaknesses that we can exploit in their system. Number 1, they're not good in possession, and that is something that is quite undermined by a few managers. But for me, that is a very important statistic. That is a very important, that's a very important, aspect of the game. So Spurs are not good in possession. So they can't keep the ball, but when you give them the ball to pass it around and they have the bigger part of the possession, they don't have that creative spark. They don't have that ability to cut through defenses. And this is the reason. Son, Kulusevski, Ken are good on the break. They're good on the counter-attack. So when you let them run, when you let them sprint in behind your defense, wow, they're going to absolutely tear you apart. But if you don't let them run at you, if you don't let them tear your defense and sprint, they will eventually become frozen. They will freeze. They don't have the ideas to create those chances. I've seen it with the Sporting Lisbon game. They had the possession, and Lisbon was sitting back in shape. Spurs literally didn't create any decent chances, and when Sporting Lisbon decided to step their game up, Sporting Lisbon won the game 2-0. So one of their weaknesses is when they have the ball and they're facing a low block, they cannot break it down easily. I'm not saying it is 0%. They will take down a low block. I'm saying their style of play does not necessarily permit that they will break down a low block, and we've already seen it this season. Most of their goals are coming from breaching defenses and utilizing that space in behind the defense and the goalkeeper. So it means if Arsenal play too high, we will be exposed. But if we play some kind of a deep line rather than a high line, and we play a deep line, Spurs will have problems breaking us down and creating those ridiculous amount of chances. The next problem that I've seen with Spurs this season, apart from not being good on the break, is vulnerability at their back line. Emerson is one of those vulnerabilities, and the other vulnerability is Ivan Perisic. Now, come on, guys. Yes, they're wing backs, and Perisic is one of the best guys in the business as a wing back, and that's why Antonio Conte signed him. But to be honest, Ivan Perisic is old. How old is it? 37? I'm not sure. Is it 35? Is it 37? Ivan Perisic is a weakness for Spurs. If Arsenal want to win this game, we must create a fascinating battle between Bukayo Saka and Ivan Perisic. It should be end to end, right? And you know the guy who's going to be tired fast? It's Ivan Perisic, because Saka is only 21 years of age, right? So Saka can run for 90 minutes. Ivan Perisic cannot run end to end for 90 minutes. And that is where we have to exploit them, right? When they come forward, when Ivan Perisic comes high up the pitch, get that ball, play it in the space behind Ivan Perisic, and let Saka run. That is one weakness. And the other weakness is Emerson Royal. He's just bad at football. That's it for me. He's just bad at football. And look, I looked at Martinelli playing against, was it Diego Dallo against Manchester United? Yeah, it was Diego Dallo, wasn't it? And I was disappointed. Martinelli was winning that battle against Diego Dallo, 10 out of 10. But then all of a sudden, he stopped running at Diego Dallo. He started picking up the ball and passing it, inside the midfield. If you're going to beat clubs like Man United, if you're going to beat clubs like Tottenham, look for their weak spots and exploit those weak spots. That is what Sporting Lisbon did. They looked at Emerson Royal and decided this is the worst footballer in this team. This is the worst defender in this team. We are going to exploit that. And that's what they did. Edwards was picking up the ball and driving directly to Emerson Royal. That is what Martinelli should do. Of course, I don't want to get into that because we're going to talk about how we beat them. And that is one of the ways, right? So weaknesses, Emerson Royal, 1. And 2, Ivan Perisic. Perisic is because of the age. I don't think, he's got the gas to run with Bukayo Saka for 90 minutes. Emerson Royal doesn't have the quality, simply doesn't have the quality to match, for me, to match Gabriel Martinelli. Defensively, in that centre back, I think they're fine. And of course, Hugo Lloris is also a fine goalkeeper, honestly. I'm going to tell you something else that I think Spurs is weak about quality. One of their weaknesses this season has been when they are faced with real quality. In the Chelsea game, they didn't appear anywhere. They only scored 2 goals that, for me, one of them or 2 of them shouldn't even stand. Okay, so when they are faced with real quality, when you work harder than them, when you are better than them, when you win the first ball, when you win the second ball, and that is what we should do. I'm going to talk about that. When you do that, Spurs are really a weak side. Everyone has said, well, Arsenal's only beaten banter clubs. Arsenal's only beaten banter clubs. Let's talk about Spurs. Who have they beaten? Southampton. Everyone should beat Southampton this season. Leicester, everyone should beat Leicester this season. We've already beaten Leicester this season as well. Nottingham Forest, Bournemouth have also beaten Nottingham Forest. So it's a no-brainer. Fulham, everyone should beat Fulham. Arsenal beaten Fulham as well. It's a no-brainer that they should win that game as well. Which other game have they won? Which other game? They've not won any. I think, was it Everton as well? Is it Everton that they won? They've not played any quality games this campaign. The only quality game they played was Chelsea, and they were the worst side of the of that Premier League weekend. They were the worst side. How Thomas Tuchel didn't win that game? How Chelsea didn't take the 3 points at home? I'm not sure. And even the slight quality in that West Ham side challenged them, and they didn't manage to pick up the 3 points. So for me, those are the weaknesses. When they're faced with real quality, they freeze up, right? They're only good at playing these mediocre sides, and also they are good at catching them on the break. So the big question now, guys, is how should we set up to beat Tottenham Hotspur? Now they've set up in a 3-4-3 system of football. 3 at the back: Dyer, Christian Romero, and I think Davinson Sanchez, or Lenglet, not Lenglet, but Lenglet. It will depend on what Antonio Conte decides. But I think it's going to be Davinson Sanchez. Down through the middle is Dyer, and to the right hand side of the defense is Christian Romero. 4 in midfield, where you have Ivan Perisic and Emerson Royal as wing backs, Rodrigo Bentancur and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg in midfield, and 3 up front. Son to the left, down through the middle is Ken, and to the right is either Richarlison or Dejan Kulusevski. I'm going to go Richarlison, because rumors have it that Dejan Kulusevski had actually picked up a slight injury. And I'm not really undermining Richarlison. I think he's a very, very good guy. So when they set up like that, they love playing out from the back. So they literally don't kick the ball up in the air to try to win the first or second ball. No, they don't do that. They try to play out from the back. And of course, playing a back 5 doesn't really mean they're so defensive like many people want to call it. Yes, they love Antonio Conte loves that conservative shape. So they sit in that conservative shape, and they will wait to attack on the break. But they also have the ability to keep the ball, pass it around, and create some decent chances as well. So how do we beat them? Number 1, Gabriel Martinelli. I think the key players for Arsenal in this game are going to be Martinelli, Saka, and Granit Xhaka. I think those are going to be the 3 key players. And we're going to explain why as we dive into how to beat Spurs. Hit the like button for me, by the way. Thanks so much for watching. Hit the like button. Massively appreciated. So, Gabriel Martinelli has one of his worst opponents in the Premier League this season, and that is Emerson Royal. Now, don't get me wrong. Emerson is known the worst defender in the world. But for me, in the Premier League, at right back, I don't think there is a worse guy. This guy is so poor at defending. Yes, there is. He has some kind of threat offensively, but defensively, no. I'm not really in for that. So I think Gabriel Martinelli should use those opportunities, run at Emerson Rayo as much as he can, try to get directly into the penalty area. We can even get a penalty from Emerson Rayo. We can't even get a penalty from him. So I think Gabriel Martinelli is one outlet we have to use. The second one is Bukayo Saka. And with Saka, run at Ivan Perisic for 90 minutes. That is one thing he has to do. Run at Ivan Perisic for 90 minutes. As Martinelli and Saka run at their wing backs, it means we are limiting them from coming into the final third. We're limiting them from having that kind of freedom to hurt us. So if we keep on having the ball, but making those runs, Saka making the runs, Martinelli making the runs as well, it's going to be absolutely deadly. Number 3 is Gabriel Jesus. He has to force himself. He has to press Christian Romero and Eric Dyer. Now we know they have the tendency of playing that ball in high, playing that ball over the top, but you can stop them. And the way you can stop them, how you can stop them, eventually at the end of the day, is make sure your striker is pressing them so that they don't have that time to stand, think, and pick out a pass. Gabriel is so good at that, pressing defenders, pressing defenses, and making sure they're so uncomfortable. So that is one way I would say we beat Spurs. Individual brilliance, right? And then exploiting their weaknesses. Number 2 for me is working harder than them. Now this is a no-brainer. Thomas Frank said in the Brentford game, after the Brentford game, he said the reason we lost to Arsenal today is because they worked harder than us. They were the better side. They worked harder than us. They pressed us. They literally did everything better than us. That is what we have to do against Tottenham Hotspur. Do everything better than them. Score more goals. Press better. Be more disciplined, win every ball, first and second, create chances more, and score, have a better conversion rate. So it is going to be working harder as a team, but also working harder than them, right? We know they have the quality, but as a team, as a unit, which is why Arsenal has been dominating football games this season, we are working as a team. We are working as a unit. So as long as we work as a unit, as long as we work as a team, I don't expect Spurs to even come close to Arsenal. I don't expect Spurs to come to close to us. We play almost a very similar system to Sporting Lisbon. Well, that means we can even limit Tottenham Hotspur from creating decent chances, and even we can walk away from it with a clean sheet. Imagine going into the North London derby, keeping a clean sheet, right? Number 1, you keep a clean sheet, but then not just that, you also win the game. Job done. So we have to work harder than them. That is another way to beat them. Number 3 is catching them on the break. Now, look, if I think Antonio Conte will realize that Spurs need some kind of possession, right? And they use their fullbacks and wing backs a lot of the time. When they are in possession, they play a high line, just like Arsenal. So I'm only saying, can we attract them, leave the ball for them for just a few seconds, then attract them to the center line, right, to the center half of the pitch, and then press them, win the ball back, and play that ball into the channels for Saka and Martinelli and Gabriel Jesus to run onto. That's why I've said Saka and Martinelli were going to be very key players and very important players in that game. Number 3 is, number 4 is Granit Xhaka. Xhaka this season has been absolutely unstoppable. Defensively quality for Arsenal. Offensively, also quality for us. We're going to need numbers to press Spurs. We're going to need numbers into the final area, into the penalty area, when we are in possession. Gabriel Jesus is not that tall and not that very, very strong. But Xhaka provides more bodies for us into the final area, plus Saka, plus Martinelli, right? So the more bodies we have in the final third, the more bodies we have in the penalty area for Spurs, the better our chances for scoring goals. And that is why Xhaka's role has never been more important for Arsenal than in this game. Get him into the penalty area, try to win anything, try to get anything on those balls that are going to be whipped in by Zinchenko, by Ben White, and anyone, right? Make sure we have enough bodies in the penalty area. So that is my research on how to beat Tottenham Hotspur, how they play, strength and weaknesses, and also their key players and how they're doing this campaign. I hope you guys have really, really enjoyed it. I'll be uploading my combined 11 very, very soon. Mikel Arteta's starting press conference, and of course Mikel Arteta's starting 11 prediction will also be coming your way very, very soon. Hit the like button if you've not yet done that. Massively massively appreciated. It means a lot to me. It really, really means a lot to me. Over 88 likes. Thank you so much, guys. Over 88 likes. This is marvelous. This is absolutely marvelous. Let's get it to 100. Hit the like button if you've not yet. Juma says, I think having Partey, Saka, Zinchenko, we are going to win this game. No, I think Partey is a no-brainer. And that's why I've not talked about Thomas Partey. Because we are a possession-based team. And if you're going to play like that, one of your best assets is the guy at the midfield base. It is Thomas Partey. And, thank you so much, Juma, for watching. Though Arrow says update us about Thomas Partey. He was not in training. Now, don't be worried about Thomas Partey. Don't be worried about our fitness issues. Yes, we do have some fitness issues, but Thomas Partey is back in full training this week. We expect to see him tomorrow against Spurs. Of course, look, knee injuries can be quite tricky. Knee injuries can be quite tricky, but we'll see him tomorrow, right? And of course, we're going to get the latest around the team from Mikel Arteta. Kamara says, Adebayo says, good morning, Cossy. God bless you so much. Hi, Cossy, says Robert. I'm in Kampala. I really love your program. Thank you so much. And then Adesola says, from Nigeria, Cossy, nice job. But I think Arsenal should be careful of Son. Obviously. I mean, most of us have underrated him in Son. Thrown him out of our, FPL teams, but we know the quality he possesses, don't we? Please, any Saliba updates? I don't, look, apart from the new contract that he's trying to sign, there is nothing to be scared about William Saliba. Yes, he was playing with some kind of discomfort at the beginning of the season, but I think that should be cleared out by now. And then Boniface says, Prince says, I saw Zinchenko and Odegaard in training yesterday, but how about Partey? Again, let's wait today, tomorrow. We still have a few hours to build up to the game. Ivan Perisic is 33. Yeah, Ivan Perisic is 33, and that is something we have to capitalize on. Hit the like button for me, subscribe. I'll see you very, very soon. Cossy Arsenal on Twitter, Cossy _ on Instagram, Cossy _ 19 on Instagram, Cossy Talks Football on TikTok. Goodbye for now.